Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. First of all, let me show you a bit of my setup. I prepared everything for the illustration of the fondue, cheese fondue, which I was going to make. Yeah, with the watercolors, a colored print, where I just sort of checked out what colors I wanted to have. Here you can see in Photoshop how I did the sketch, and this is my light table, on which I've put a piece of watercolor paper with the sketch printed out underneath. Yeah, so that's how I set it up. I also you could also see a reference of a fondue pot. Um, yeah, and in this video I wanted to talk a bit about the preparation of how what goes into an illustration, because it's not that easy to prepare an illustration, or basically it just takes time. It takes a bit of yeah, planning. Like this particular illustration was supposed to be for a recipe, and I had to first I had to analyze what I wanted to do a bit, because I mean it's like a little comic. I had the recipe, which is a recipe the mother of my two best and oldest friends had always been doing when we was little, so I really like this recipe, and it's not complicated or anything. I just really like it. It's a yeah, and so I was thinking, yeah, how would I want to illustrate it? So it starts off with cutting onions, and and but I'm and I did the little figure. I did a sketch of the little figure, um, cutting them, but crying and being happy by it. She knows what she's anticipating, and each illustrate step which I chose to illustrate, I wanted to have a heightening of emotion, and because of the anticipation of eating the cheese fondue. So yeah, that's what I wanted to achieve here, and I did this in Photoshop because it was easier for me to get the positioning of all the parts right in that sense. Because otherwise, if I would have done it in my sketchbook in a traditional way, I would have had to cut it up a bit and push everything to the right place and have the layout proper. So for layouting something like this, which is similar to a comic, the computer is perfect. So yeah, so as I said, I had the emotion timeline. So when it's like the step where I'm pouring in the wine into the milk, it's a very concentrated pose, because she because it can really, when you put the wine in the milk, it can break the consistency that the I don't know what it's called in English. It's called Aufflocken in German. So the little small crumbs of milk happen if you pour it gently. They don't come. So yes, that's a bit about, not about work, but about the recipe. But yeah, so that I wanted to get that image right. Then how it starts to smell good, and uh, the enjoying that was the next one. Then just, of course, some steps of the the fondue are only just sort of, yeah, changing the pot and everything. But it's I'm getting the character, she was supposed to get more and more excited, and yeah, into the final, everybody eats the cheesy fondue with yeah, with very happily. Um, about the character design, maybe a little bit. I didn't want to draw myself again, because I do draw myself a lot, not because I'm that in love with myself or anything, just because it's what I relate to often. But I thought, okay, it's a cheese fondue. Maybe have this girl look a little bit traditionally German, even though this is nothing like it. But it's just, I wanted to get the feeling of her that way, sort of this braid, which is called Affenschaukel, a monkey swing. I used to wear that, my hair like that sometimes, and my teacher told me it was called a monkey swing. Yes, so that. And yes, so, and yes, I didn't say this yet. This was a gift, but I wrote it basically in my Instagram. This was a gift for a friend with whom I often cook cheese fondue, and And since we the last time had the topic that she didn't have a fondue pot, and I really needed a birthday present, so we got her a fondue pot. So it's not that creative, but it felt good, and with the recipe illustrated, I think it was a nice gift. Yeah. What else? So, oh yeah, okay. So into the planning. I mean, you see me coloring all this in watercolor, and so when I I printed out my final layout, I colored the sketch of it very quickly just to get a rough idea of where I wanted the colors to go. I did I kept mostly to them, but it was just sort of but just to get this feeling, and I mean watercolor is permanent, so in that sense it makes sense to plan a bit, to check out what works, what doesn't work. Where does this? I had this idea anyhow, so I wanted to do that, and yeah, so that helped a lot. Yeah, as you can see, I'm here in the final touches and adding the gold color. That's just, I've got these little pots of watercolor glittery colors, and I really love them because for gifts they're so beautiful. I mean, they're sort of giving the nice final touch with these colors. I'll link them in my YouTube because I've been using them in a couple of illustrations now. Um, saw them on the internet, of course, about other artists. So yeah, so that was that. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.